Welcome, Brielle, to the Earth to Marissa podcast. This episode is going to be a bestie catch up. We're going to be talking about the eclipse season, what the hell just happened from late September to early October, and how it affected us, the astrology behind it with the queen of astrology herself. And we're going to share just the personal stories on what was illuminated for us during this eclipse season, what we're doing to move forward, and be sure to check out this week's paired video. I channeled from the Akashic Records how the eclipse affected humanity and where a lot of you might be sitting. So if you're looking for some validation about the crazy shit that just happened during eclipse season, go check out the channeled message. It was very fun to dive in like that. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, know that you can go to YouTube and watch it if you want to see our cute outfits and aesthetic. And be sure to, we are still in October. So if you haven't seen the October energetic update, go ahead and check that out. And let's dive in. Okay, so as you know, we do the affirmations. This week I am working with the affirmation of I take care of myself and therefore I am taken care of by the universe. It feels so good. It feels so juicy. And how true is that? You know, the more you focus on yourself and care for your house and your body, your temple, the more things come into your universe and align for you, I really feel. So what affirmation are you working with, B?
Hey, I'm Brielle. I do BFREE astrology and energy updates.
Yes.
Marissa and I have been besties, absolute soul sisters since, I don't know, 2018, 2019. My affirmation is for Libra season, as Libra is governed by Venus, its planetary ruler. Venus is all things love, art, beauty, money, poetry. So this is my affirmation for Libra season that I'm carrying with me. I'm going to make everything around me beautiful. That will be my life. And
Ooh, that's good.
It's by Elsie D. Wolf. That is by her. And the reason I picked that for Libra season 2 is it's on my 2024 vision board. And I kind of just think, like, when you can have a little trinket, when you can have flowers, when you can have something cute, like just here and there, like it just makes the space feel elevated, and it makes something small very special.
Oh, absolutely. I love that. Because would you identify Libras as indulging? They indulge.
Yes, that's literally Venus's
Okay.
whole trope. And so indulgence comes through in dessert. Like Friday is ruled by Venus. I know. And that is such a trait for Venusian people with Taurus and Libra heavy placements. You know, going for the finer things in life. Friday, Venus Day, that's a time to indulge, have that dessert, treat yourself. So,
absolutely.
That's a great word. Yeah.
I Libra all year round. I am always treating myself to the best of everything.
As you should, Queen. As you should.
Absolutely. So for the self-care this week, this is a interesting one, but it's been good so far. I am choosing to smile in the uncomfortable and using that as self-care, because it, like, just smiling, you know, they've scientifically proven just by smiling your mood does brighten. And it releases like chemicals. And so I have tried it a couple times and it's actually been like really beneficial. I can feel the energy like transmute and shift when I continue to smile.
Oh, yeah.
So I love working with that this week.
Oh, I love that you bring this up, because it's something that maybe I only think about every once in a while, but now that you're bringing it in like a light of, hey, this is a practice, or like, hey, this is a form of
Mm-hmm.
self-care. It's almost better for me to remember to do that now. Um, and my fifth grade elementary teacher, shout out Miss White, she wrote on the whiteboard every day a quote. And I don't know if she had this quote year round, but it stuck with me. And it says, it takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile.
Yes.
And think about how your body like is built that way, and the muscles and tissues like would rather with ease smile than it would like
Frown.
tense and all that up and frown.
I think it's so interesting too. I realize that maybe sometimes I don't smile enough because when I do smile a lot, my cheeks get sore. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I always think of that quote because I'm like, well, I haven't smiled in a while then. Like my face isn't used to it. The
Yeah.
muscles. Yeah. Yeah.
When we're together, and
Oh,
I'm always
my cheeks. My cheeks. But I'm recharged instantly and my body feels amazing.
yes. Yes.
What's your self-care this week?
Oh my gosh. It's so Virgo moon of me to say this, but I'm cracking down on my routines because I I also quit my 9 to 5. Me and Mars went through this together, and it's
Yes.
like the best journey, and we're so stoked.
I was going to
Um,
ask when we dive in how that has been coming up for you through this eclipse season, but we'll get to that in a minute.
yeah, yeah, we can get to that. And I just want to take. It's not about my routines as a whole. It's just like making my mornings for me at my own pace, and if it's a slow morning, um, that's okay too. If it's not, it's just like taking each morning for some me time, making sure that I am speaking affirmations before like talking to others. Um, so yeah, I kind of, I brush my hair now. I say this abundance affirmation when I brush my hair now in the morning.
I love that
And
you do that. You sent that to me and it's a magical
yeah,
practice.
no, it's so Venusian too, because Libra
Mm-hmm.
is beauty magic.
Ooh,
And that that's just fitting. So I started doing that this season.
it's so nice to take like small little tasks that you do and like use them with the backing of intention. Like even
Yes.
for me, my morning routine, like while I'm washing the celery, I often find myself like just kind of caught in my head
Mm-hmm.
thinking, and I'm like, okay, take this moment to breathe and like ground into the frequency of what you want for today. Like just
Yes.
turning those small tasks into time where you can use your intentions to
I
energy shift.
Oh yeah, I started doing that brushing my teeth at night because it's something I
Yeah.
despise to do. Like I have no problem in the morning, but it feels like such a chore when I'm ready to go to sleep. Um and so to get through it, I guess, I started saying my gratitude prayer mentally at
Oh,
that
that's
time.
nice.
And because my toothbrush is on a timer and I'm just like, you know, either staring at myself in the mirror while I brush my teeth or something.
Mm-hmm.
But to do that before bed, the gratitude prayer, so that I'm not also like praying it while I fall asleep. Like I get to wrap it up and finish it.
Yes, because that always happens to me, literally. Because
Me too.
I've never thought to do it while I'm brushing my teeth at night. But yeah,
Yeah.
because I usually do it right when my pillow hits the head, and then I fall asleep in the middle of my gratitudes, and I feel like I barely get it
Oh
in. So
yeah.
that's so smart. Okay, I'm gonna implement that now.
Look at us, intentional tasks.
Intentional tasks, we love that. Um, and this week's symbol, we got this a couple weeks ago. We got receive again. I asked what B and I
Oh,
needed before the podcast, and I got receive. And the crystals that came forward are rose quartz, lepidolite, and healer quartz as well, which I think is interesting because I would say we both identify as like healers.
for sure.
We're both pretty woke
For sure.
in the upper chakras for lepidolite,
Oh
and
yeah.
and we get to just open ourselves up to receiving with the rose quartz as well. But for receiving, I don't know, when I kind of tuned in, it was almost like it makes sense that receive would come up during eclipse season, right? Because like so many transitions are happening, so many things are being illuminated for you. And if you really want to get down to business, you got to receive the magic that is coming in, even if it is through chaos, pain, suffering, like kind of like the oh shit feeling, you know?
Yeah.
How can you turn around and match that with the knowing that it's teaching you something, that it gets to be for your expansion, and you can receive that medicine? So that's what I felt. Do you have anything coming forward with the symbol?
Oh, I love that. I love how you paired it with eclipse season to receive the messages. As we'll get into, eclipses are a catalyst and they absolutely catapult us into something else. And with that change, we might get caught up in like the, oh my gosh, this is so sudden, or like the drastic storm and turbulence that you get into. But to hold receiving at the center of that, it kind of like calms your inner self down a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
In that. My crystal.
Yes.
Here's my crystal today.
So cute. Yeah.
Like a makeup.
Beauty guru. This is the new crystal.
This one stood out to me today, and it's yellow calcite. Beautiful solar plexus crystal.
Ooh, that resonates with everything that I have written down.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yay.
We're
so
just in tune.
Connected.
Yeah. And this is for all of the positive light that you hold within you. This crystal kind of helps bring that out, and it really was striking like individuality, and of course with solar plexus, like our confidence and our creativity. Yellow for that color magic, but for yellow calcite, it was really letting that inner positive light be able to shine and be able to reach others and come out like that. So
yay,
meditating
so
with
cute
her today.
I love that. Big fan. Why don't we dive into what the heck is eclipse season, first of all? What does it mean? And what are solar and lunar eclipses? And yeah, just dive into that. If people don't know.
I'm so here. There's a lot to say. There's like, as you can view it astronomically, and then there's like the meaning attached to it and astrological attunements with each season. All of these planetary movements shape cycles. So if you're one to live by cycles of life, whether it's seasons, the cycle of your body, that's how I use astrology. And so we often find eclipses to shake things up, similar to like when retrogrades come in, and pop culture and pop astrology kind of fear mongering with retrograde and eclipses. I'm not here for that. I'm here for the strength based astrology. So
Amen.
how can we utilize it?
Yes.
Yes.
I always think it's funny people talk about Mercury's in the microwave again. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Funny. So funny. And that happens 4 times a year.
Yeah.
Mercury in retrograde. And that's okay. So with eclipses, it's not something to fear and be scared of, but it gets this rap because it is intense energy. And they're times of transition. They're catalysts for you to refocus, reanalyze, and often you move into a different phase or era of your life because you needed to find out something. You may have something during eclipse season arise, and it's only bringing this to your attention for the best so that you can recalibrate and reanalyze and just see, okay, this wasn't working, this relationship wasn't serving me, this person wasn't, uplifting me. And so the eclipses come in to often show us what we need to restructure. And these eclipses are in pairs. So the eclipse portals are when we start with a lunar eclipse and end with a solar eclipse. And between those eclipses and the full moon and new moon is when we're in this portal, and it feels like a liminal space, and it feels like a bridge, and it feels like there was one door opened and closed and another opened and closed. And so it's this very interesting space that we sit in for about a month, but we do this twice a year. So
does it always start with lunar and end with solar?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I know that it was this past
one.
month.
I can't remember.
But they are attuned to the equinoxes. So in spring, it will happen on the vernal spring equinox, which also starts Aries season and is in the pagan wheel of the year in bulk. And then the Mabon is the fall equinox for the wheel of the year, and that always starts Libra season. And so across the zodiac wheel, Aries and Libra are seen as quote unquote most compatible, but that's because they are across from the wheel.
My parents.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't even realize.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
I love that.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can think about living with the cycles of life and the seasons and going through January to March, and then when March hosts the spring equinox, you're kind of out of your winter blues and out of the cabin fever, and there's growth and there's sun and there's light, and then the equinox and the first eclipse happens of the year. And Aries season around that time also is a new beginning for starting the zodiac wheel and starting the astrological calendar. So that day, March 20th, usually, is very big. There's always like highlights on Imbolc and the equinox and Aries season and the new year. That often feels like the new year to me, not really January. And so that pair of eclipses starts in the spring, and the second pair of eclipses starts fall, autumn equinox. And all eclipses are attuned to the nodes. These are not planets, but they are points in the sky, the south node and the north node. And these are karmic destiny points. The north node is where we're going, and you can look at your chart. They do take longer to move through each sign, so they kind of shape generations as they naturally take so long to move. So the north node is what we're striving for in this life, and lessons to be integrated, and like what is our birthright to know. So you can actually look to your north node, look at that sign, look at the planetary ruler of that sign that your north node is, and try to get those lessons in. And in order to integrate those lessons, you can surround yourself with people who have heavy placements of your north node sign. So if my north node is Aries, let's say, and this if your north node is in Aries or Libra, then this recent eclipse was attuned to your natal nodes.
Oh, interesting.
And this past eclipse season, and these past two eclipses were attuned to the north and south node of the Aries Libra axis, and we will not have a solar eclipse sitting so close to the Aries and Libra nodes like this again for 33 more years, 3 more decades, give or take.
Whoa.
So we've been closing something up this past month.
Yeah, because especially with Aries, like rebirth, like infant, that feels very, like newness, yeah, new experiences, everything.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so to get those lessons of what your north node sign is, if mine was in Aries, you would surround yourself with Aries people, Aries moon, Aries placements. And the south node is where we're coming from. So I often, this is the only thing I look to in the birth chart to give insight on past lives. But in a natal chart reading, I just look there for a small little snippet in that time that we have, and it's where you're coming from. So whatever your south node sign is, it's already ingrained in you. You're born with this knowledge. And I look to see what that archetype would be, like maybe that was your job in your past life, maybe that was your role in your most recent past life. So if it was South Node in Leo, maybe you were a performer, celebrity, political figure, some type of public figure, person with authority, person with courage and bravery that you could have been in your most recent past life.
What about
so these
Pisces?
are the nodes. Healer,
yeah,
and visionary and oracle. Pisces South Node, you would already come in with empathy. You would already come in with sensitivity.
And I'm heading towards Virgo because Virgo is the North Node. So
that's your chart?
Yeah, Virgo is my North Node, and so I need to learn how to ground. Right, like learn how to ground and learn how to like be organized is what I get from that.
And also nurture and be of service.
Oh, that's nice.
So Virgo gets that rap too. Okay. And I have a lot of Virgo placements. But I'm a Scorpio sun. And the Virgo, pop astrology is so much like get your shit together, get your life together, get your routines and your health. And however, you have already taken care of health and food regimens and making your lifestyle centered around these things that are good for your nervous system, your health system, your gut. Virgo rules the gut and the nervous system. And what did you do around this age? Something you've already integrated from a Virgo North Node life lesson is lifestyle routine changes around your health and around healing your gut and healing your nervous system. So absolutely. You found that out pretty quickly.
Yeah, thank goodness. So would you say that this eclipse, so each eclipse for me then being tied to the nodes, the North Node, so Virgo's always coming in. So would you say that's just a time to then just like look at, those areas of your life and what is coming up during that time for you? So at this time, like my health, I have been switching some things up, definitely taking a different attitude towards it. Do you think that's connected to the North Node being affected by the eclipse then?
Yeah, absolutely, because the nodes are illuminated each eclipse, each time the eclipses occur each year. So looking to the lessons of your North Node and harnessing the powers in your South Node.
Yeah.
Right?
It just came to like the nurturing aspect of Virgo. Like we both just quit our jobs like at the beginning of September. And then, we're thrown into eclipse season, which is very interesting. I had no idea that was happening. I'm sure
you didn't?
No, I'm sure you knew.
Using...
Yeah, you knew. I had no idea. I had no idea.
Oh, no, I did. I was like, hey guys, I'm using the eclipses in this season and blah, blah, blah. Because they're like, why now? And I'm like, if I don't do it now.
Because astrology.
I know.
Literally. But it's like with quitting this, and leaving that, we have both been really taking this time to like learn how to re-nurture ourselves after being pushed to our end and being just driven to these very strict routines when we are such cyclical people. So that's really interesting actually, the nurturing.
It is, and our last days of work was in Virgo season. And then we kind of used the rest of Virgo season to nurture ourselves and slow down and like, we weren't fast-paced anymore. We weren't rushed anymore. That was so good for my nervous system. Like, I said, with my mornings. Yeah.
I remember like the first couple days of being out of, work and just at home, I was like, holy cow, like I don't have to force myself to focus or be doing something for 8 hours a day. Like that is so strange to me. And it leaves me feeling so stimulated. Like you're having to stimulate yourself for 8 hours straight. And like, you get breaks and stuff, but like some people don't. I mean,
I didn't take my lunch. I just tried to leave 30 minutes
and
earlier.
some days, or you just like scarf it down while you can because it's so busy.
Yeah, and
And
my therapist actually brought that to my attention and was like, what are your routines? Almost phrased it as like, what are your food rituals or rituals around food? And when I had started with her, I was still at that job and I wasn't taking a lunch break.
yeah,
And I was just eating while I was sending emails or like eating while I was, that's just not
not
like,
it.
no. I'd
No.
rather go outside and eat
Yeah.
or
Well, and two, when your
being
body is,
intentional.
yeah, when your body's in that rush state, like you're not going to be digesting well.
Yeah.
I have to be careful about that. I tend to run like 10 minutes late, unfortunately or
It's
fortunately.
the Aries
I
moon.
it's yeah, like I just I get distracted or I get hyper fixated on something and then I'm like, "Oh shit, I need to go." And then that usually also leaves me like, "Oh crap, I haven't eaten." And so I eat in the car. And that just, I'm trying to get away from that because eating in the car while you're like trying to focus and do two things at once, like it's just not good for digestion.
No, but at least you're aware of like what you need for your digestion. And that's
Yes.
a Virgo lesson too. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, we love. Okay, cool. Doing the
You just
astrology
got a
without
nice
even
little
knowing.
reading.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay, cool. Thanks. So,
The other
yeah.
thing you mentioned was reminding me that the first eclipse we had, the most recent pairs was September and October. So
Mm,
that first full moon was in Pisces, that first lunar eclipse around the autumn equinox.
really?
And so, yeah, you must have had a time around quitting your job and everything with fluidity. And it was one
Mm,
of the easier full moon lunar eclipses that we've had recently because it was just like the crying, the surrendering, getting into flow state. Those aren't hard, those aren't struggles. It
mm-mm.
may be something that we just need to like keep in mind with ourselves, like surrender to the flow, be fluid. But the first, I just want to say that was a lighter, easier kind of full moon. So maybe with that lunar eclipse full moon in Pisces, most people didn't realize it or feel the effects, um, except you may have felt it with those all heightened themes with the solar eclipse, which is a new moon in Libra under a Libra sun. So it was double Libra energy. There was a lot coming forward about fairness, harmony, justice.
Mm.
These are all themes of Libra. Libra is the only inanimate object that its alias is represented by the scales in the wheel. It's the only inanimate object. So with the scales, that lesson of balance, um, that was probably brought to the forefront for a lot of people. And that was last week, October 2nd. We're filming this October 9th. So last week, that was the last pair of eclipses attuned to the Libra and Aries uh, nodal axis that we'll experience for 3 decades. And then it was the last of 2024,
Mm.
wrapping up a lot. However, I want to mention that these pairs of eclipses and what we wrapped up last week and are still in this energy wrapping up all started in April of 2023, spring last year. 2023 is when these
Okay.
pairs of eclipses started attuned to these axes. So, what were you doing in April 2023? Where were you? What were your thoughts? And when we don't keep journals, I totally know it is so hard to go back and understand where we were. But really think about this and where you were and see what's coming to an end because this is wrapping up a year's worth of that.
Hmm.
And a tip for me, a tip to help like understand where you were during a certain time, and if you don't keep an astro journal, that's totally okay. But you can look in your camera roll. You can look in your photo albums,
Oh, that's smart.
and then you kind of have everything like coming back to your
Mm-hmm.
memories. So when I take photos, like it brings me back looking through them. If you want to look to spring 2023, April 2023, um, you might have screenshots, you might have moods and aesthetics, you might have things you saved for inspiration. You might just have pictures of yourself. Maybe you've changed your hair. Maybe you see yourself like lighter, and like happier in a way. And that kind of just brings you back to like moments in time. So that was what is so major about last week, and that last eclipse of this year, but wrapping that up. And we often feel the effects of eclipses days and weeks after, because they're not something that happens so sudden or frequently. So I wanted to make a note of that so that everyone,
so we're still
doesn't feel like it's just that day. We're still in it.
Yeah, we're still in it. When would you say we will kind of move out of it? Like at the end of this week? Like 10 days before, 10 days after?
I would give till November. I would give till Halloween.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then when the 31st comes around, you're also doing Samhain practices. It's very introspective, and Libra kicks off, as it's the 8th sign of the wheel. It kicks us off into the second half of the wheel, and into being in the northern hemisphere, the dark part of the year too. Yeah. So this is such a deep reflective time. It's inner work. It's, introspection, and so whatever you can like reflect on. If you just had big feelings and big emotions, we're so there with you. Like, I know that we felt those.
Absolutely.
And your journal is your friend during this time. So yeah, we're still feeling these effects. And
what does the lunar eclipse, no matter what sign it's in, what does that often bring forward for us? Like, yes, it's happening in that sign, but like, like full moons are for release, new moons are to welcome things in. What does lunar and solar specifically
Lunar is, great. So lunar eclipse is with a full moon, and it's the first time out of like so many months we've kind of been in like normal lunar phases. It's the first time that something is kind of like started on a different path. Maybe something comes up. It's not a time with the eclipses to manifest. The full moon in a lunar eclipse, an eclipse portal,
that's good to know.
Not the time to manifest.
Okay.
It often, no.
I laugh because I have been manifesting.
I mean, depends on like how hard you went in your rituals.
Yeah.
If it's mental, like we can always be like mentally manifesting, I feel.
Completely.
But there's something that comes to light, and there's something that just has a heavier weight. The full moon for the lunar eclipse kicks you off in that portal, and it's a time that you have to start patience and bring in patience within that new transition. It's not going to come, it may not come up automatically right away when the lunar eclipse begins, but you kind of understand something greater is at play, something larger than you is at play, and that's just a time to slow down, halt, reflect. And from the full moon to the new moon, we're like winding down. So it's nice to hold patience during that turbulence, like I said, that might arise, and just take notes of like what's coming up, and like how are you moving about your day on autopilot, and then something strikes you, because whatever's going to strike you and get you out of your, oh, okay, I'm going to acknowledge this. Oh, this is calling my attention. Whatever that is coming up during that time for a very important reason, and can often just be very potent. So listen to that.
I had a lot illuminated last week on family vacation that we'll get into. But yeah, a lot of those moments where it's like, oh, that's why this is coming up. Okay, thanks. Cool.
And it's hard if we're not patient during these times that things come up. If we're not patient, it's hard to see the why behind things.
Oh, absolutely.
As we'll get into my story later.
Yes. So where are we going now? So we just had the lunar eclipse, and what's the next new moon then? Because we just had the full on October 2nd. And where are we?
We just had the new moon in Libra, October 2nd. No,
JK.
you're so
got
good.
Got it flipped.
We have a full moon in Scorpio coming up.
Ooh.
And that is like, your
favorite.
Get your candles. I know. Get your black lace, get your leather, get your spooky candles, get your red wine and everything like that. And in October, it just feels so nice. So this will be, if you wish to do manifestation rituals, the full moon that you are given permission to.
Thank goodness.
Actually, I just want to like take that back and just say, do whatever you feel you need to do at any moment. And anything we ever talk about or teach is like, take it or leave it. Take what resonates, leave the rest. And that's just my slower practice within eclipse portals, to not manifest, but to stay more grounded and patient.
Beautiful.
So, where are we going?
Yes, where are we
this
going?
week? Yes, the week of October 7th. We're recording this on the 9th, and it'll be released Sunday, I believe. So this is a week hosting 2 major transits that I would love to dive into, because that will happen before the Scorpio full moon.
Yes.
Okay, so Wednesday, October 9th, we have Jupiter, which is in Gemini right now, stationing retrograde today as we're speaking.
I love that. We chose the right time.
We really did. The planets station retrograde typically, once a year, very casually. It's not like, oh my God, something's retrograde. Like, this is all on a calendar. It's all on its own routine.
So by station retrograde, you're saying it's going into retrograde.
Yes. And the terms for station would be when a planet stations retrograde, and then when it stations direct, which means it comes out of retrograde.
Got it.
So stationing Jupiter in Gemini right now, stationing retrograde, is when you astronomically can study a planet moving through a telescope. This is what retrograde means. It means that a planet on its orbit and on its path, when it stations retrograde, it moves where it looks like it's appearing to move backwards, in air quotes, because it just looks like it's off course a little bit. And sometimes when it does station retrograde, it can dip back into the sign that came before the sign it's in. And I'll get to that later with Pluto. But right now, Jupiter stationing retrograde in Gemini will be retrograde till February 4th.
Oh my goodness.
So it's a little bit of
a while
newness to our rest of our dark half of the year. And Gemini is ruled by Mercury. It's this quick-wittedness. It's very fast-paced, and it really values shared information. It values knowledge and intellect as an air sign. And Jupiter as a planet is representing expansion, luck, and ways in which we can rethink, ways in which we can receive. Jupiter is abundance. So love the receive card from earlier.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah. This is honestly, with Jupiter retrograde, a time to reflect and stop moving so fast, because Gemini is so quick. And so that reflection is perfect timing after the eclipses, right? So that'll be until February 4th. That's Wednesday. The second major transit is this Friday.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
So with Jupiter being kind of newness and expansion and receiving, and Gemini being a quick energy, could you also look at it as we are expanding rapidly from now until February 4th? Like, we are receiving rapidly. Would you say that, or?
I actually think, like, we think the same, because I was like, oh my gosh, we're like quickly receiving, right?
Yes.
Or quickly expanding. But with retrograde, things are like an inverse tarot card. Things are moving backwards. So it's a time, it's actually more, it's calling our attention now more to reanalyze and reassess and take a slower approach to the things that would expand you, because you want it to be done.
Okay.
We want it to be done in a productive manner.
I like that. I like that
Yeah.
a little bit better than the like, we gotta go kind of feeling. Like that's very resonant. Like take your time in your expansion and take your time in your growth, because then you'll have like a more stable foundation.
And that's creative expressions and creative outlets too. So like when you're starting, you probably started before the end of the year, some sort of creative pursuit. So take your time with your projects, that'll just pay off if you take the time, be patient with it, pour into it. You don't have to rush it. You don't have to rush, selling something, trying to make money out of it for the rush of that. Just Gemini just wants to create in that way. And with Mercury, that's ruling Gemini, that's writing and communication. And so just having a slower approach to that.
I love that.
For retrograde.
Perfect. Okay, and then Friday. You said Friday?
Friday.
Okay.
Friday, this is major. These are very much like deep reflection, deep endings. Friday, Pluto stations direct in Capricorn. So Pluto has been stationed retrograde. We've had a glimpse of Pluto in Aquarius. It is the age of Aquarius. I think I posted that earlier this year.
Pluto, I've heard people talk about this actually. Yes, okay, I've heard people talk about Pluto. Yes.
It's major right now. Pluto is all of the transformative cycles. It's the death, it's the rebirth, it's the karma. It's revolutionary in this way.
My favorite planet, and it is a planet, period.
It's a planet, and I'm a Scorpio ruled by Pluto, right?
Yes.
Its traditional ruler is Pluto, and I love claiming that. So Friday, Pluto stations direct in Capricorn until late November. Guys, this is the last time in our whole lifetime that Pluto will be in Capricorn. So Pluto...
Ooh, I just got chills.
I know, right? So we've had the glimpse of Aquarius and like what it could do on a collective level. What we're doing in Aquarius, with Pluto in Aquarius, is dismantling structures and systems that no longer serve us, and out with the traditions, and like in with what we need for an innovative, better future. Technology, community, all of that within a better future. And so now that it's stationed direct in Capricorn, it will be here till late November, November 19th, the last time in our lifetime. And the United States, actually has a natal Pluto in Capricorn. And we are about to witness the US's natal first Pluto return within this transit. So we have an election, we have a divided country, we have a lot of emotions wrapped up in the political climate right now. And this is just kind of a time to witness what's going on at the world stage. We have unfortunate events. Yeah, there's beauty in neutrality, right? Yeah. Because that's neutral. Libra in this season's lesson right now. To harness. That's Libra has to weigh its decisions only after it's gotten all of the witness statements, and it's gotten all of the collections of all the moving parts of the story. It has to get every perspective and every part of the story to weigh its decision, and what that scales does. So I kind of like that you brought in neutrality around this politically, because that's what we're in right now with Libra season, the sun in Libra. So the last, so Pluto moves every 248 years on its orbit. So it takes 248 years to orbit around the sun. And it changes signs longer than any other planet. So this goes back to 2008. What did we have in 2008? The recession and economic downfall and the stock market crash, and just all of this on a monetary devastating level. So what did we value so much within our possessions and money, and valuing on how we do money and how we have exchanges that was all highlighted and crashed as systematic downfall, right? So that was 2008. Capricorn is an earth sign that is also governing money in a way of always saving your money and never spending it and trying to have the stability and the financial means whenever you need it. And so it's for Pluto to be in Capricorn now, you know, we're seeing a transformation in themes of Capricorn for the last time in our lives. And this really highlights a strategic focus. Capricorn is strategy, structure, practicality, logistics.
Very practical people.
Right.
Very, very practical people.
Yes. And
which
so
we
with
love.
that Cap energy. Yes. I know, we can acknowledge everything here in its strength.
Big fan.
So as this is the last time, there's a major strategic focus on our spiritual growth because that's what Pluto is governing in transformation. So to come after the eclipses, after we were catapulted into something new, it's for transformation, right?
Yes.
And so this is very cyclical and processing what we're going through and where we've been and what we're healing on. That's Pluto too. I want to have advice to this transit. Moving forward, do not bury things deeper. Do not suppress and be that, you know, shaken up Coca-Cola bottle that absolutely explodes.
Yes.
So not to bury these things.
Get it out when you feel it immediately.
Yes. And there's roots to notice just during this time, roots in what is the cause of this? What is the cause of this within me? What is the cause of the situation? What is the cause within my feelings arising? And when you know your why, you're reclaiming your power, which is also Pluto. So the Capricorn, you know, authoritative role that Capricorn brings in, has this authoritative role. There's a sense within reclaiming your power in this role that brings authenticity and living within your authenticity after reclaiming your power, because you know your roots and you know your causes and you know your whys. So
that is so cool. And I feel like from April 2023, that was like a really big focus for me specifically. Because back then I was thinking, and one of the first things that came to mind was like, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like I've had a passion to be a healer, a speaker, like motivational speaker since I was young. And then like I wanted to be a psychic and blah, blah, blah. But like in that period in my life, like all of that was gone. And I had absolutely no idea. And so it's been this building over the past, like year and a half, 2 years of, okay, like coming back into this and coming into like my most authentic self. And now as this transit comes in Pluto, it's like, okay, we're ready to show that. We are like putting out content. We are claiming this like newness. So that's really interesting. That's how I'm seeing it.
Well, you didn't have the space to make your content or voice your, starting the podcast because of your job. And what did you do? The eclipses quit. It made space. And
and
now you have the free time.
And the freedom to stand in my authenticity and create Gemini. Yes.
And Jupiter is freedom too. So you just absolutely put all of that together.
I just astrologied, guys. Who knew? Without even knowing, I did that shit. And that's so beautiful too, because when I listen to astrologers, like I don't necessarily understand the like it's trining with this and stationary, blah, blah, blah. But then when you get into that, and that's why I love talking to you about astrology, is because you like, you make it super digestible and relatable. Like how, like, yes, all of this logistical stuff is happening. However, like, how is it actually hitting you? And then like, sometimes with other astrology people, I don't get those like little light bulb moments because it's a little too analytical for me to
Yeah.
understand. But I love this. Yeah, that just like
Thank
fully
you.
came together on how it works. And it's so beautiful to then like understand, okay, how can you work with the current energies, or how are you already working with them without even knowing?
Yeah, and that's exactly going back to like living through cycles and living with nature and the seasons
Yes.
and the wheel of the year and the astrological seasons. That's just what I'm attuning to right now. And it just is like you're literally going with the flow and you're attuned to what Mother Gaia is undertaking at the same time as you. And so thank you so much for saying that. I want to
Yeah.
be I want it to be very digestible, and I also quit my job to do this. So
Yes. Yeah, I can't wait for your weekly astrology updates. I will be
thank
listening
you.
every single week so I can actually tune in. I haven't felt an astrologer that I feel resonant with the weekly. Like I know you listen to Cheney, I think. And I've tried that
I
out,
listened
but
to the Channy Nicholas. I listened to Channy's, and
yep.
then I listened to Maddie Murphy, which is Cosmic RX.
Yes.
Um, and they mention a lot of degrees and trining and advice within those transits. But I'm kind of asking like why, and I was a folklore student, so I love the
Yeah.
mythology behind the planets and
Yes.
like
Yeah.
thank you.
Brielle's videos coming soon, guys.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
it is. Making my website right now.
Yay. All right. Well, thank you for giving that update. I am so excited to better understand what's going on and how these were affecting us. And it makes a lot of sense with what came up for both of us through this eclipse. And let's dive into that. First off, reactiveness. Oh my gosh. I was on family vacation when the second eclipse happened, the solar eclipse happened. And when you are in tight quarters with people,
Your family.
your family especially, and my partner, this was the first vacation that he joined us on. It was just so interesting to see how he was reacting to things, which would make me react to that, or how my mom and I react to each other. You know, it's just very interesting to witness that. And I had like more awareness to my reactions than I have, I feel like, in past instances. And I feel like that was probably due to the eclipse. It's like, okay, I'm being met with this because it's time to let it go. It's time to, you know, take a pause when something happens before responding, to actually like see what emotion was triggered and sit with that first before reacting and like going full fledged with the emotion or the inner child that just like stomped her feet and like rolled her eyes, you know, or like is getting annoyed and irritated at people, you know. And so the reactiveness, it's just interesting because I feel like too during these big transitions, people come into our lives or experiences come in to give us those self-reflections. And I have found that oftentimes they reflect our contradictions. And so, yeah. So, you know, like I am always talking about like breathing, patience, calm, you know, and it's like, okay, bitch, you're going to talk about it, live it. And so, yeah, I just was met with like contradiction there. And same with change. There were, you know, when you're traveling with 5 other people, 6 people total, like change is going to happen, plans are going to change. And I think some of my family members had a really hard time with accepting that change. And it gave me a beautiful opportunity to just reflect and see where I resist change as well. Because I grew up with this person that responded to these changes like this. And I saw how, oh shoot, like I actually kind of respond that way sometimes too to change. And it makes sense because I grew up with them, you know. But so I got to really like sit in that too, because I'm talking about receiving, I'm talking about go with the flow, you know, and like I really do try to practice what I preach, but I don't know, when you're out there in the world, sometimes it like hits you hard. It's like, oh shit, I haven't been doing that. And so I really got to sit with it and like just breathe and know that whatever change presents itself, it's happening for you. It's happening to keep you in alignment, and it's happening for your highest and best good, no matter what it is. Even if it's like as simple as like we got coffees one time like over a vacation, and my dad got my order wrong, and it wasn't even wrong. Like I can't drink a lot of caffeine. However, I got black tea, and the size had 2 black tea bags instead of the one with the smaller size that I thought I ordered. And like when it came, I was kind of like frustrated, and my partner was like, be grateful. And I was like, ooh, yes.
Yeah.
Be grateful. And it's so simple, you know. I was just like tired, and I was like, man, like now like I'm gonna feel jittery and like anxious because like there's double the caffeine and blah blah blah. But then like when he said that, I was like, thank you for keeping me in check there.
So nice.
And like also like spirit has got my back, so spirit knows I can handle this. And I did end up drinking the whole thing, and I was like perfectly fine, which is interesting and good to know because caffeine usually really fucks with me. So it's like small stuff like that. I mean, there were like major things that I'm not talking about where I was reflected, but that's like one small item where, you know, that was just brought to my attention. And it felt like a recalibration almost, with, my responses and with how I really sit in the waters with people. You know, it's easy when I'm alone and I'm in my own sanctuary, but when you calibrate or recalibrate in your own zen, you know, stepping out into the world shows you where some parts need a little more attention or recalibration. And so I think it's beautiful when those group experiences can come about to show you and illuminate what comes forward.
Yes,
so how was the eclipse season for you?
Honestly, I know we both moved through this for the first eclipse of that last pair where we quit our jobs, and I just like for 2 weeks wanted to free float and just see what comes up and take my time in things. That was really nice, and I think that was supportive. And then the one last week had me absolutely sobbing. I had a realization, and I'll share my story on that real quick.
Yes, please.
So I've been writing rigorous essays for a very competitive scholarship to fund my grad school and to fund it abroad. So it's a national scholarship, and the committee reads tons and tons of essays. The embassy and that kind of international board has to deem you qualified to study outside of your host country and go somewhere else on their funds. So I have a personal statement essay, and then I had a statement of grant purpose essay. The personal statement one is 1 page, and I've been writing it with my advisor since June. And the deadline was actually yesterday, so last week I was trying to wrap up like all loose ends. Last week I thought my essay was just at the point where it needed to be polished, but my advisor said half of this doesn't do enough heavy lifting for you. Let's cut it. And it was half, and I was like, we're cutting half? Like,
yeah.
Why right now, right? Thank you for your critique, but I was stressed.
I was shocked when you told me, like, y'all had been working on this since, like, June.
I know, and she's read it.
But divine timing. Divine timing.
It truly is, and this is why. She asked me to dig deeper, and the personal statement is an essay of, like, who I am, why I am the way that I am, all of that. The story, I replaced it with the next day she was 50-50 on. So we cut it as well. And this was actually last Wednesday on the day of the solar eclipse, full new moon in Libra. My my role is that of fairness, harmony, and equality to all cultures and subgroups. So very Libra, right? Those themes were on point for even what I want to do abroad. I want to help people.
Yes.
So to get to this next story, my boyfriend kind of knew that I was at like a new empty blank page, and he helped me in this process of why, asking why, getting to the root of what I want to do, why I want to help people, where this stems from. And you guys, this practice in eclipse season, like, use this to your benefit. The why.
Yes.
As if your journal has prompted 20 why questions after your first question. I'm so thankful that he was so persistent in this.
And he's a Libra.
Moment. He's a
Which
Libra.
is so funny that he was the one bringing this forward for you.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Thank you.
Yes.
He's a Libra Scorpio cusp.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, it got to this point of, why do I want to help people? Because I deserve everyone. Because I think everyone deserves kindness. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because we should have equality throughout. Why? You know, he asked this and said, some people aren't nice to others. Like, why do you feel you have to be nice to everyone you meet, or that everyone deserves this? And it got me to a point in this persistent questioning of, I know I'm an empath, so it got me to this point of my empathy and why. And there was a spotlight on my childhood and a little bit of trauma and a little bit of emotional absence from my parents and a little bit of neglect in my immediate environment, was kind of a catalyst in me forming empathy and me being able to read the room, read others' expressions, notice if I'm in danger or not. And that came up because this empathy was almost heightened sensitivities that were formulated in response to the emotional neglect, and it was a tool for like a defensive mechanism. However, I know we all have spiritual gifts and we all have untapped abilities. So to be able to look at the potential of this, you know, I'm so glad that I have empathy for others. And I thought I was born with it, and I'm telling him that I'm born with it. And there is nurture versus nature in psychology, of course. But this was an angle that I used for my essay, and my advisor said, let's run with it. And that, to use in a very professional setting, was vulnerable for me.
But vulnerability is so what the world needs. What the world needs.
And it's authenticity, right?
Yes.
Like, to show why I am the way that I am. And I understand, like, it's a yes and. It's a both and situation. It's the yin and the yang. I'm not just this way because of my dislocation as a child. I'm not. But I mean, there's
studies, a big part of it.
Yeah. And he validated that from like a scientific method standpoint, that I didn't even know there were studies on this and other children and these sensitivities. So yeah, that is what I submitted.
And I love that too, because it goes into kind of what the podcast talked about last week of leaning into the challenge, you know, like finding the gift within your greatest challenge and then using that as a tool to shift the world, which is beautiful, because the world is empathy is what the world needs, and you are so graciously giving it everywhere you go and spreading your kindness and your understanding, your vulnerability, your authenticity. And it's really beautiful to see. And I'm so glad that like you were able to open that box. I told you when you told me this, but like it's so beautiful to have that box opened a little bit and be able to look inside of it and see, okay, how has this really affected my life? In the good ways and maybe the bad ways.
No, I'm going to write more on it. Thank you for seeing me in that. And last week's episode and message was spot on for this.
Absolutely. Yay! And so that's how we were affected during the eclipse season. Please comment below how you were affected, or if you resonate with anything that we've talked about. And I just wanted to hit on real quick, during eclipse seasons, during these big transitions, how can you move through them with ease? And some of the things that kind of came down to me is just positivity. And positivity was really focused on and brought through in the channeled message that I got from the Akashic Records about this eclipse season and for the rest of the year. The Akashic Records just said, be positive about everything. And when we say everything, it's everything. Like list 5 gratitudes or 5 positivities that happen throughout your day. And you can do that while brushing your teeth. We now know this. And so this gratitude really helps transmutes and helps you raise your vibration. And so during these times when we are in these liminal spaces, like an eclipse portal, or 2 in this liminal space of like the end of the year and anchoring in this next 2025, it's so important that we keep our vibration raised high so we can attune and align with the highest timeline. And one way you can do that is through gratitude and through positivity, by eating clean food, by moving your body, by drinking plenty of water, by getting a lot of rest. And now this transit that's happening Friday is reminding us to take it slow, take in that rest, and really soak it in a pleasurable way to create a super solid foundation moving forward.
Oh, yeah.
And then acceptance too. Just accept and receive. Receive what's coming forward and know that it is fully aligned for you at this time.
Yes.
It's teaching you. Yes. So Brielle, where can people find you? Give yourself a little shout out.
Yes, girl. You can find me mainly on Instagram. It's BFREE1999, BFREE 1999. And I have a LINKTREE, I have Calendly, any slot that is available for you. You can put in your little time. We'll do a reading. We can do that virtual. I can send you essays, whatever you like. So I'm so excited to be sharing astrology, and I'm making my website now so that it's most easy to book.
Yeah.
You can see my background and everything like that. So this has been so fun to be your first guest. Thank you so much, Marissa, for having me.
And I absolutely.
Just feel like we're talking as besties as normal, but
Amen.
sharing this with others is going to be so profound. Thank you for this.
Absolutely. And I will put Brielle's information in the description once your website is live. I'll go ahead and link her Calendly. So if you want to sign up for a little reading, you can do so. And yeah, y'all just got a little inside scoop on what our bestie chats look like.
Real.
For real though. Well, thank you everyone. I am sending you so much love, and have fun this week. Enjoy the transits and settle down after this eclipse season.
Yeah.
Much love, and bye for now.